Hey guys, it's Sithlore. Today I wanted to talk about the Spirit Barrage skill, which is, I would consider, a relatively decent single target skill. It does 230% weapon damage and costs 108 mana, so it is a relatively mana intensive skill, but unlike zombie bears, which we just talked about earlier, this is not something that you're going to likely replace with your primary skill. So in this case, this is something where you're going to continually use your primary skill and then just supplement it with some additional damage. And so, although you will run out of mana when using this skill, it's not as mana intensive because you're not spamming it all the time. It does have pretty good range, so you can stay back and cast it behind your meat shields if that's what you want. But as I said, if you're casting it quite a bit, then you're going to run out of mana. So let me just kill this back.
I need money.
And now we'll switch up the runes. So the first rune is Spirit is Waiting, which what the Spirit of Waiting does is it reduces the mana cost by 44. So, well, it doesn't officially reduce the mana cost by 44, but what it does is for every enemy hit, then you regain 44 mana, and since this is only a single target skill, then you cast 108, you get 44 back, so the total cost is 64. And so you still can't spam it entirely, but you can spam it quite a bit. The reduced mana cost, as I'm going to call it, essentially reduces the cost by 40%. So if you're planning on using this as a spammable skill, then you can essentially increase your damage by 40%. So although it's not 40% additional damage, that's one way to look at it. The next rune choice is Well of Souls. So instead of just one spirit that's attacking, it deals 3 additional spirits. So you've got your one major damage skill, which is the 230, but it will also seek out additional targets that do 65% weapon damage each. So although it's not going to do a ton of damage, the 65% weapon damage for 3 targets is quite powerful. Again, the issue that you're going to run into is the mana intensive aspect of it, and if you keep using it like I have been, then you're going to run out of mana. So Phantasm is a true AoE skill because it's going to do 225% weapon damage to an area. So as you can see, that one guy is taking quite a bit of damage because he's within the area. The problem is, as you can see, anybody that leaves the area no longer takes the damage. So this is much like Grasp of the Dead, where it's a area specific skill. The problem that I have with it is I find Grasp of the Dead much more powerful. The only thing that's beneficial to Phantasm rather than Grasp of the Dead is the fact that Grasp of the Dead has a cooldown. But let's just go to town once I kill these guys out, and we'll compare the 2 skills, and I'll explain why I feel that way. So this is 225% weapon damage over 5 seconds, whereas Grasp of the Dead is 416% weapon damage over 8 seconds, but it also provides an additional 60% slow. So in addition to being more damage per second, it also provides a 60% snare. So I find Grasp of the Dead to be much more powerful. It's also about the same mana cost between the two of them as well. Like I indicated, the only downfall to Grasp of the Dead, comparatively to Phantasm, is the cooldown. So the last two, the first one I'm not going to show you, it's the same skill. It just, you regain 3% of the damage dealt as life. The only downfall to this is because of the fact that lifesteal is reduced by 80% in Inferno. That's really only 0.6% life that's regained. So any life that's regained is good, but it's not an extremely powerful skill. So if you have no other sources of lifesteal, go ahead. But again, I'd recommend other runes and trying to get some either lifeline hit or other lifesteal. And the last skill is the most popular by far, and it's an extremely high damaging skill. So it deals 1600% weapon damage, or 1667, over 20 seconds. So this essentially becomes a cast and forget spell. The only difference between this and the other runes is you've got to be in pretty close proximity. It's a medium range skill. So as you can see, it's attacking all the guys nearby, and I'm just running around, although I just cast Grasp. And I can just sit here and it'll go after them. While you're doing that, the whole point of a cast to forget is you literally forget about it and you're attacking with other things. So this is an extremely strong cast and forget spell. This really shines in boss battles, especially if you are dealing with an enemy that you're having difficulty beating before the enrage timer. In that case, the additional damage is extremely beneficial and will hopefully help you defeat the boss. I know when I was first going through Inferno, that was something that I was having difficulties with. So anyways guys, that is the Spirit Barrage skill. Thanks for watching.